Many of us always think how to escape our 9 to 5 jobs and find our freedom. I know that's an interesting topic which most of you must be looking forward to. So, in today's episode, let us chat with Rachel Smets on this interesting topic. This is the Guiding Voice podcast series, The Guiding Voice for a Better Future. Folks, I'm your host Navin Samala, just a fellow IT professional on a mission to shape the careers and lives of millions across the globe. Through The Guiding Voice, we help successful leaders share their knowledge and wisdom with the world so that our audience will acquire more knowledge per every minute than any other podcast in this space. Thank you so much for joining me. And we are extremely pleased to have Rachel part of our journey in shaping the careers and lives of millions across the globe. Rachel, hearty welcome to the Guiding Voice, and I'm super excited to have you joining me today.
Oh, thank you so much, Naveen. I'm super excited to be here. Yay.
All right, so let's cruise into our conversation. And Rachel, maybe you can quickly share your professional journey and the top three things that have helped you so far.
Okay, sure. Awesome. So, my journey in a nutshell is that I've been living around the world in many different countries. I was working a corporate job. I burned out completely. I hated it. I didn't like to work for a boss. So I started escaping, and I did not do that overnight. I always say, don't jump without a parachute, have a plan. And so I made a plan and I transitioned. So I call it a career transition. I didn't take the leap of faith. Like everybody's like, oh, just jump and take the leap of faith. No, 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 don't do it. So that would be my top one as part of my journey. So I did escape my corporate. I am living the life of my dreams. I am traveling the world now. I am literally every month in another country, and I'm loving it because I now live a laptop lifestyle, and that's really what I wanted. Because for me, freedom is my biggest value. Freedom means doing what I want, when I want, where I want. And so to come back to your question about my top three lessons of my journey, it is one, have a plan. Don't take the leap of faith, like I just said. Don't just jump, but have a plan. Two is confidence. I learned to grow my confidence through taking action. I was not born with confidence. Nobody's born with confidence. It's something that people now look at me, and I'm on my YouTube channel, creating videos. I did my TEDx talks. I stand on a stage in front of, such a big audience. I was not born with confidence. I learned it. And how did I learn it? That's my top number three, by overcoming a lot of fears. Because yes, I am not fearless, and I don't want to be fearless, but I face my fears and I take power over my fears time and time again. In every country that I arrive, I don't know anything, I don't know anyone, I'm getting lost, and I'll find my way. And that's how I approach my life.
Fantastic, Rachel. And that brings me to my next question. Like, you're currently a clarity coach, right? And how do you help individuals? And why did you choose that path?
Yes, thank you. Great question. I am a clarity coach. Why? Because clarity really helps you go from chaos in your mind to, confidence and clarity on your roadmap. And so I became a clarity coach because when I was still working my 9 to 5 job, I just didn't know where to start, and I didn't know how to figure it out. And I didn't know, I really didn't know where to start. And so I was overwhelmed because of the overwhelm of information on the internet, because of everybody saying different things. And you watch webinars and, take courses and listen to him and you ask other people. And anyway, so if there's one thing I don't want for my clients, it's overwhelm. And so I call myself a clarity coach because I became really good in seeing the clarity. And what I do is I always give one next step. It's always about taking one next step after the other. Instead of being overwhelmed, instead of doing, 10 things at the same time, one next step. And that's how you achieve what you really want.
Fabulous. And you mentioned you were able to escape 9 to 5 job, and that didn't happen just like that. You had a
Yes.
perfect plan and you jumped with a parachute. So how
Yeah.
was that journey with a parachute?
Yes, thank you. It is a process. It is a journey. So it is first about getting clear and getting that self-awareness. Like I mentioned in the beginning, is I burned out completely, but it was the best thing that ever happened to me because it made me stop and take a look at myself. So I would advise everybody's listening and watching here is stop and take a look at you. Take a look at yourself. And that self-awareness was something I never I never looked at myself because I just kept climbing that corporate ladder. And until I realized I was climbing the wrong ladder because it wasn't meant for me to be in a job working for a boss and being a manager with all these benefits, looking great on the outside, but feeling very miserable and unhappy on the inside. So stop, take a look at yourself. What is it that you like? What is it that you don't like? What is your vision? Then create a very clear goal. This is not something that happens just like that. I take my clients through a process, but having a very clear goal, and that goal, usually people think, oh, well, I'm good in IT, I should do more of IT. I'm good in marketing, I should do more marketing. And the truth is, Naveen, that most of the time the goal is something completely different. Completely different. But we forget what we really want because we are pushed in different directions. And so after we create that, it's about taking small actions towards that goal that really is your purpose and that will make you money as well.
Excellent. That's great. And moving to my next question, you mentioned you're traveling one country per month, right? So can we also really quit our jobs to travel the world full time? Do you think it is possible?
Yeah, but it's the same thing. I did not just do that overnight. Like when I was still in my corporate job, I started traveling more. I started, with 1 week and then 2 weeks and then go back. And I always came back to my job. And then that's why I call it a transition. Nothing happens overnight, nothing. And then I started, being able to do more work remotely. That's when I could travel a month. And then I liked it so much that I traveled 2 months. But I always came back. I always came back home until I decided a year and a half ago, just like, you know what? This is working great. I enjoyed it because people sometimes think they like to travel. So they would love to travel more, to do it full time. But if you don't try it with anything else, whatever you want to do, try it, test it, see if you like it. For me, I tried, I tested, I increased my time of travel. I really enjoyed it. And now, yeah, I don't have a home anymore because I decided to sell everything and travel full time. So I don't have a home anymore. So I'm always traveling until I no longer enjoy it. But at the moment, I'm really enjoying, discovering new places and new people. And so I keep doing it.
That's awesome, really awesome. And during the first question, you answered that you gain confidence through actions and all, right? So,
Yeah.
what is your advice for people who want to awaken confidence within themselves?
Yeah, that's a great question. And it is actually the first book that I've ever written because I studied psychology and I study a lot of people and I interviewed a lot of big names that show a lot of confidence. And I thought, wow, they have it all. How do they do it? And they all had one thing in common. And they all said, we're not born with confidence. We really had to learn to grow that muscle of confidence. It's just like going to the gym. You don't go to the gym once and you come out all muscled and toned. No, you have to go back and repeat and repeat. And so it's about taking small actions. And these actions are, I have 11 confidence hacks. The main ones that I can mention are slowly step out of your comfort zone. Like do something out of your comfort. It could be small. Cook something or eat something that you're not used to. Wake up in the morning and don't make up your bed. Take a different route to work or to wherever you want to go. Like or speak to a stranger. Go into a store and just address and just start a conversation with someone. Whatever it means to you, but do something out of your comfort. And that is like overcome small fears. Don't try to climb the mountain. Just climb a hill and start there. Another big hack that made a massive difference in my life is to surround yourself with different people, because the people that you aspire, the people that motivate you, and not the people who are holding you back. So in my case, when I was still working my corporate job, the longer I was around my colleagues, they were doing a job and they liked it. That's not the place where I wanted to stay. I wanted to go. I wanted to be a digital nomad. I wanted to travel. So I started surrounding myself with entrepreneurs, with digital nomads, with, and just shifting, those kind of friends and relationships that you have into who do you want to be? Surround yourself with people that you want to be with. And the last thing I want to say is a big hack is I really work on my mindset day in, day out, still today. The mindset is everything. Like the more I told myself, like, I'm not good enough. I can't do this. I will never make it. Well, guess what? You'll stay stuck And so when I started to learn the power of those stories in our minds and just telling myself, like, I can do this, I got this, I'm going to make it, I'm an entrepreneur, I can travel, I can do what I want, and things started to shift. Really, they do.
So, Rachel, now shifting gears and let's talk about how to overcome the fears.
Mm. Okay, well, I'm going to continue then on the mindset, because what is a fear? A fear is a story that you tell yourself. So a fear is something, let's just say you're laying in bed and you hear a noise and you imagine a burglar in the house. What happens? You start, your heart starts beating faster, you start sweating, you start panicking, you're so worried. We're worried because of what? Because of a story that there is a burglar. Is the reality that there's a burglar? No. But it's because of that story that you put into your mind. Why are people fearful? Because most of the time we always fear the worst case scenario. The fears usually start with, well, what if I fail? What if I'm not going to make it? What if I lose money? What if people are not going to accept me? What if? And we then add the worst case scenario. So why don't you start thinking about the best case scenario? What if I succeed? What if I make money? What if I get really happy? So shift the story in your mind. And to prove you the power of the mind, I want to give you a very small exercise. I want you, all of you watching or listening, to imagine you're holding half of a lemon in your hand. Just imagine that. You can close your eyes if you want. I'll close my eyes. Just imagine half of a lemon in your hand. Now you imagine taking a bite out of that lemon. Do you feel that water in your mouth? Like, oh my goodness, that bitterness of that lemon? I'm not holding a lemon. We're not holding a lemon. We're not holding a real lemon here. It's just by the power of thinking about biting into a lemon that the water starts going into your mouth, that you have that bitterness, that taste. Like, it's fantastic how powerful our mind is. So use that power of your mind, which is free, by the way. It doesn't cost anything. It just costs you the effort and to push. Like, every time you have a worst case scenario, boom, you shift. And I started doing that. Like, negative thought, I can't, but I can. I'm not good enough. I am good enough. And I do this over and over and over and over again. The power of auto suggestion. And with any fear that you have, with any worry, with any doubt, come back to the present moment and just shift your thoughts and change that story. It's going to make a massive difference in your life.
Super. I'm loving every bit of this conversation and such a wonderful tips. And moving to my next question, you mentioned about becoming a digital nomad, right? So
Yeah.
can you shed more light around that?
Yeah, sure. For me, when I was still working my 9 to 5 job, I just wanted to escape. Like I said, freedom is my biggest value, and I just wanted more freedom. Did I know I wanted to be a digital nomad? No, but I started traveling more, and I really liked the lifestyle. And for me, a digital nomad, well, what it means is that I started creating income sources online so that I could have a laptop lifestyle. So all I need is my laptop. And I started creating multiple streams of income that I could all do through my laptop. So I became, I have several videos on my YouTube channel, like literally the very beginning steps, because I really started, like, I had no technical skills. I didn't know where to begin. And so I really put my toes into that digital life. And I started teaching languages. I love languages. I did some proofreading. I don't do any of that anymore. But it was my way of figuring out, hey, I can actually earn money online. So I was tutoring. I was, giving some workshops online. I was, and there's all these, I was earning so little money, Naveen, but it was good because I was still working my corporate job. I didn't really need the money, but I was learning and I was growing online. And so it's really about creating these multiple streams of income. And now, I'm a full-time coach. I freelance as well. I do workshops, webinars. I have my YouTube channel. So it evolves, and you find your path and you find your voice. But really, it's about, digital nomad is I'm making money online, and all I need is my laptop, and I can work remotely from anywhere I want.
That's nice, Rachel. And here comes my next question. Many of us aspire to work abroad and live abroad, right? So, what would be your tips for those who are planning to live abroad and start working there?
Yeah, that's a great question. And my second book is called Living Abroad Successfully, because before I started traveling full time, I lived in many different countries, and I'm also a cultural difference expert. And it's the cultural shock that is something that people don't usually prepare for, because again, people underestimate how big of a shift living in another country is. And I'm loving everything of it, and I certainly I feel rich of experience from living abroad. But I just want to warn people, like, if you like to travel, it doesn't mean that you will enjoy actually living in another country. So I just want you to realize that if you're very attached to your family, to your friends, to the life that you have, if you have certain routines, like, you play, soccer or cricket in a team, or you have your weekly coffee with some family or something, you're not going to have that anymore. And I really want you to be aware of that big change. But not only that, when you arrive in another country, be aware that it could be a different language. I lived in a lot of countries with a completely different language, which is great because I love languages and I learn and I speak a lot. But so language is an issue, but also the culture. It's new foods, new habits, new etiquettes, business etiquettes. How do you greet? How do you talk? How do you build relationships? You arrive in a country, you don't know anybody. You have to make friends from scratch. And it takes time. So if you're a person that you attach to your friends, and then suddenly you're going to feel alone and lonely, you know, and then also the cultural habits, it's and the food, and then you go to a grocery store, and suddenly everything is different, and the prices are different, and the fruits that you usually have are not there. So there's a lot to take in. There's a lot to take into consideration. So please, again, with just like when you plan your escape of your job, plan, do your research. How's the country? What are the events? How's the culture? What's the food like? What are the prices, the lifestyle, just really, really do your research. It's worth it.
Excellent. I think those are all some practical tips to be and which we have to be watchful about before making a decision and all. Thank you for sharing all those wonderful insights. And this has been a fabulous conversation so far, Rachel. Now let us add some spice to the episode. With your consent, I'm going to kick off a quick rapid fire round. Are you okay?
Ready, shoot.
All right. Here comes my first bullet. What was your childhood fantasy, Rachel?
Ooh, great question. Oh my goodness, I didn't really have one. I didn't really have one. So sorry
No,
not to
no,
give a
no
bad
worries. Yeah, we'll move to the next one. What is one best piece of advice that you have received so far?
to try and live a life without regrets. I think that's, yeah, to live in a moment. Let's put it that way. To live every day in a moment.
Wow, so profound. All right, now can you describe one life-changing incident that changed your perspective altogether?
Yeah, I think what I mentioned before is my burnout. It really made me stop and look at myself, and stop comparing myself to others, and just realize, like, wait, whose life am I living here? It's my life. It's nobody else's life. Whose path am I following? Following the crowd? No, I'm making my own path. And I'm just doing what I really want and what makes me really happy. And if I yeah, I just want a life without regrets. I don't want to, let me put it this way. I don't want to live a life that at the end of your life you look back upon and it's like, oh, I wish I had. No, I did do what I wanted to.
All right, moving to the next one. As you have lived in many countries and you would have come across different dialects and languages, so what will be your one favorite word from other language?
Ooh, okay. I would say, well, when you say love, I would say amor. Amor in Spanish. I love
Ah,
that. Yeah, I'm gonna keep to that because I think it's very meaningful.
okay, great. Last one for the rapid fire. Being a digital nomad, I am really curious to hear from you. What will be the technology or gadget that you would like to see or invent yourself?
Um, a Tinder. No, that's already existing. Some. I don't know. There's so many apps already existing. Actually, I don't know. I was just thinking about a dating or some, some meeting people thing, but there's Tinder, there's Bumble, there's so many already out there. I'm not an inventor. That's not me. I want to inspire and motivate people, to live their best lives. I'm not an inventor. I'm not technical either. So yeah.
No, fair enough. That's all right. Now let's go back to the mainstream and one final conversation. One final question for today's conversation, Rachel. What will be your one piece of advice to those aspiring to make big in their careers or lives?
Yeah. Focus on your next best step. Just realize that you have to start today with one small action. And so my question, I will turn this into a question, because I want people to take action. I don't want you to just listen to all these podcasts and beautiful Naveen's, episodes. It's great, but I want you to, take action from it. Don't just listen, but take action. So I'm going to turn this into a question, like, what is the one small thing that you can do next? Like, it could be watch watch one of my videos, reach out to me. It could be talk to somebody who you aspire, talk to a stranger, have a conversation, like, maybe dive into learn something so you can make money online. Like, what is one small thing that you can do and do it?
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And I thoroughly enjoyed the conversation. Thank you so much for joining me and pleasure talking to you.
Yeah, thank you, Naveen.
All right. So, folks, before we move into the trivia section, here is a request to you. In case if you haven't subscribed to us already, please subscribe from the app where you have tuned in from. Also, if you have loved this conversation and found it useful, request you to share with at least 3 of your friends or colleagues who can benefit from the guiding voice. Thank you so much in advance. Now, let's hop into the trivia segment of today's episode. And today's trivia is about introverts. Right? Many people think being an introvert is bad, but again, there is no good or bad about being an introvert or extrovert. Right? And being an introvert is not the cause of one's low self esteem at all, because many introverts have healthy confidence. However, people who lack self assurance are more often than not introverted, because they are seeking social aversion, which means they are trying to avoid getting in contact with others and all. So that's all for today. Thank you so much for joining me. And before I let you go, please share your topic recommendations or guest speaker suggestions through social media or email me at theguidingvoiceforyou@gmail.com. Folks, I'm your host Naveen Samala, just a fellow IT professional and a passionate learner on a mission to make a difference in the careers and lives of millions across the globe. Until next time, bye bye.